Today we're back at Bloc Shop at the second location, the Hochelaga location, for our second time. We have 2 white tapes left in the gym, and I started the session on this crimpy one, which I tried for probably like 10-15 minutes the last time I was here before I powered out and just got super tired when I called my session early. So I was excited to try this one again, feeling nice and fresh. I did most of the moves when the little bit I tried in the last session. This move in the middle here, I did once last time, and it was definitely the hardest move. You can see here, I'm doing the same thing I did with that the power endurance white tape from a few episodes ago at the other Bloc Shop location, where I'm working the ending first a bit, just to get super warm and to make sure that my first try of the day isn't going to be a super hard ground attempt and then I get super pumped and the rest of the session is ruined. So I'm working these ending moves, which are really hard. This cross over here is probably the second hardest move of the climb. It's probably, actually, it's probably harder than just the move to the hold before it, but the other move just feels a bit more low percentage. And so after working the ending a bit, I decided to mix in the ground try here. The beginning moves aren't too hard. They're kind of just designed to pump you up for the ending. And you can see when I was first trying this move, I was doing this toe hook on the volume. And I stuck it on my first attempt of the day, which was pretty good, as it took me quite a few tries to stick the last session. But then I started falling on it. You see I had that helicopter spin, so I decided to try and switch to this drop knee, which kind of looks like the intended sequence. But my foot really didn't like twisting on that crimp. It felt super unstable. So I just went back to the way that I stuck on my first try of the day, and I just said, I did it literally already, so I just need to do it again. And so I start trying the ending again after working the ground for a bit, and I stick the move, and I was not quite able to link the first and the 2 cruxes. I never was able to link those 2 moves. I gave it a few more ground tries, and I ended up working this boulder for about 35 minutes, which was over half the session. And obviously you can see every hold on this climb is the exact same hold pretty much, like these kind of slopey crimps. And my fingers probably started powering out after 20 minutes of trying this climb, and I actually kind of went a bit to the point of where they were starting to hurt and probably should have stopped. But yeah, eventually got to the point where you can see my attempts on this cross move especially are getting worse. And I just realized, even no matter how hard I tried, there was no sending this boulder. So I accepted defeat, and it was quite a nice change of pace to start working on boulders where I was failing. And sending is nice, but sometimes failing a bunch on a hard boulder is just as enjoyable. And so after conceding defeat on that last white tape, we move on to the other white tape in the gym, the only other boulder I have left. And it's got this cool first move, the jump to these 2 slopers. When I looked at the start, I thought it was going to be impossible. These holds look so bad. And it's funny, on most of my attempts, this move is so low percentage, you have to hit these holds perfectly, that I kept falling on my first try, and I would always stick it on my second. And I don't really know why that is. And then establishing the start is hard enough, and then you're going into this next move. Every move on this boulder is hard, obviously. It's only 3 moves. And this next hold is this tiny crimp. It's so small. It's the smallest of the line of flat hold scrum crimps. You rarely see it because it's supposed to be a foothold. And after trying, there's a little foot chip. After trying to go dynamically to this hold a bunch, on one of my tries where my foot slipped, I gave a Hail Mary, I'll just see if I can throw the heel up. I ruled it out kind of early because it seemed too high. But then my first try, it went, and I realized that I was wasting a whole bunch of time. I only had 25 minutes to try this boulder, and I probably wasted 15 of those minutes trying to step on the foothold instead of using this heel. And so I was oh dang, and I was kind of powering out by this point, and I think I was only able to give it 3 or 4 tries with the proper beta. And after a couple tries, I stick the second last hold, and I'm yes, I'm probably gonna do this. And the last move, I had like kind of just fingertips sliding down the good part of that sloper, and it wasn't to be. For the second session of the day, we have just another hour-long boulder session. We're also, I forgot to say that we're switching to hour boulder sessions instead of hour and 15. We're just like starting to taper down the volume a bit, leading into the comps coming up. I want to, preserve skin and just not be too tired, and like we've kind of started to crash in the past couple of days from all of the volume of training, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen around comp time. So we're starting to taper off like the sets during our workout, like the sets of our hangs and our exercises, and the bouldering volume as well. So this session was pretty cool. We're checking out the other Allez Up location. They have a few locations as well. So this is the Verdun location. And I haven't actually climbed here before, so this is my first time climbing here. And this session was quite the contrast to the morning, where I was just failing a bunch and I didn't actually stand anything in the morning session, which is a nice change of pace. This gym turned out to be a little bit soft. You can see it, the white tapes are the hardest here, and then the pink is one below. So those first two pinks, I flashed pretty easily, and then this white as well, it was weirdly easy, and I was like kind of unsatisfied. I was like hoping to kind of struggle a bit on the whites, and there was one more white tape in the gym actually that looked quite hard, but it is this crimp line, and I wasn't super motivated to get on that after working crimp line earlier in the morning. And the second boulder of the morning session with that like razor sharp crimp was kind of cutting open my fingertip a bit, and so even if I wanted to try it, it was a bad idea. I was probably gonna rip fingertip off. So I didn't try the hardest boulder in the gym actually. I finished off like some of the other of the hard pink tapes, and this pink tape here actually was the first time I fell in the session. Then after that, I had there were a couple like black tapes left and pink tapes, but they didn't look too bad. So I decided to switch to actually doing some eliminates, just because it was getting to the point where like the sending was nice, but I was getting to the point where I wasn't even like trying super hard, and it was kind of like, sending is great and all, but you also want to make sure you're trying hard, like you're working at your limit during your boulder sessions as much as you can. So I decided to switch to this black tape, and I came up with this cool eliminate where I skipped these two holds in the middle. And I was actually super motivated to work on this boulder here because it's got my nemesis move. It's just kind of like overhead pressing and just like pressing in general, just like super intense shoulder loading. And this is a good move to work on. I don't know how applicable it is because it's kind of morpho. I don't even know if you'd really find this sort of sequence in a comp, maybe, but it was just like super extended and a bit contrived, but it was still a good muscle group to work on. And so I'm really struggling to get this right foot up. The right hand that I'm palming on is super slippery, and it feels like as soon as I start moving my leg, the right hand's gonna slip. I think it did in one of the previous tries. It's kind of a funny fall. But I'm working it. I want to conquer my weakness. And my left shoulder is getting so tired at this point that I had to, this is my last try of the day. I gotta keep, this kind of give me a little reminder that I gotta take my middle tape press a bit more seriously and not be skipping workouts like I did in the last one. But yeah, this session concludes our Montreal trip, as I'm gonna cut it a bit short and head to Toronto, and we'll feature some gyms there. So tune in.